Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, everyone who took time out of your evening to be with us this evening. It's my honor to serve as your council representative, and I'm your biggest advocate. And, I'm really interested to hear what concerns you bring forward tonight. I know we have many issues. We also have a lot of opportunities here in District 8 and just the Western area in general. We've got some big things happening, some changes with the closing of Birmingham Southern, maybe new life there. But, as you think about the problems we all face, do think about your vision for this area and some of your dreams and hopes for this area because we hear a lot of complaints all the time and we we have a lot to complain about, but I do think bringing forth ideas and visions for what we can have is also important. So I want to encourage you there. If your handwriting is bad, I want to encourage you to get someone to help you write your question more legibly so Rick won't pass over it because he can't read it. But and I'm talking to myself too, but I want to thank the neighborhood officers here because the District 8 neighborhood officers, you helped me to serve the citizens of District 8. And I know I call you all sometimes to call the department heads because I can't call them directly. So,
Counselor, can you have them stand and be recognized?
yes, would you please stand if you're a resident, any office, any neighborhood office in District 8. And I see some neighborhood officers who are not in District 8. If you're a neighborhood officer anywhere, would you also stand? Thank you. I see some District 9 neighborhood officers here as well. So thank you all for what you do, and thanks everyone for coming and letting your voice be heard, so that I, from my office, can advocate for you. We have a good working relationship with the mayor and his team, and so we're blessed with that. A lot of challenges, a lot of opportunities. So thank you, Mayor.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Oh, you got a hot mic in your hand. Everyone, with that, we'll get straight into it. We'll start with the topic that is top of mind for all citizens across the entire city, every single day, every week, every month, every year, and then the street paving. What I can tell you is that over the last 6 years, we've put in close to about $60 million in street paving. It turns out when we came into office, we inherited about a $50 million backlog in street paving. However, I do want to tell you what we were able to accomplish in 2023. We did about 12.5 million citywide. Segments are just pretty much a short way of saying it's blocks or areas of streets. And within District 8, we did about 28 across the district. Now, the lists, we've moved away from sharing the lists because it gets so small you can't read it. However, streets we've actually completed paving in District 8 last year are at Birmingham al.gov/transportation. Again, Birmingham al.gov/transportation. So literally on your cell phone, you can just pull this up and you can go at District 8 and you can see the streets we actually paved in District 8 last year. If you go to the next slide, we're going to tell you what we're doing with street paving this year. We're doing about 12.9 million in street paving citywide for 9 city council districts. And that'll be about 182 segments. And as you see, we've increased segments in District 8. Now, many of you, I'll go ahead and get this out. I'm going to preempt the question or questions because many of you are going to say, well, what about my street or a street next to me or a street that's in proximity to me that hasn't been paved in 20, 30, 40 years? Councilor Clark, Dr. Darrell Quinn, their 7 other colleagues, and I inherited a list of streets to pave when we came into office. So we want you all to know that every street that has been paved since they represented you, since I have represented you, we didn't pick any of these streets. However, we had to fund a unfunded mandate of list of streets. We now want to give you the better news, which is this council has approved a very a fair, more efficient process to assess every street in the entire city and letter grade every street. So all of us have been in elementary school. Think back to your report card. You got A, you got B's, you got C's, and none of y'all got D's and F's. Yeah, me neither. We're going to do that process has already started where every single street, District 8 residents, every single street right now in our city is being assessed, is being letter graded. A for the best streets, B for the second best streets, so on and so on. C for fair streets, D's and F's for the worst streets. Once that list is complete, the commitment as elected officials we have to you is that we will share with you all as District 8 residents, but we're going to share with the entire city for all citizens to see the letter grades of all the streets across the entire city. Once that process is complete and you see it, you should then know what's going to happen next, which is very easy. How we pave streets will be based on the worst streets across the city first. Therefore, no one can say they're left out, or no one can say the same best streets are always being paved, but my street is being left out. So I'm going to imagine there will still be a question about street paving. So I am more than willing and happy to repeat the information I've just shared about street paving because I think it's worth repeating so you can go back and tell your neighbor, your friend, someone else on your block or your street because everyone is concerned about how we pave streets in the city and want their street paved. With that said, if you could go to the next slide. We want to talk about a few capital projects in District 8. We know there was some changes where some neighborhoods came into 8, one being an example of College Hills. And there were a few more, so you may not see College Hills on this list, but I do want to talk about projects in District 8, starting with 3rd Avenue West Streetscape. This project is currently active and is in a design phase. It includes street resurfacing, but it also includes ADA compliance for more accessible sidewalks as well as lighting and landscaping. And this project is from Avenue S to Avenue W. In addition to that, you have 19th Street improvements. This project includes sidewalk installation, replacement, and accessibility, as well as landscaping and curb gutter work. And this is from Pike Road, which is in walking distance almost here, to Inslee Ave near Tuxedo Court. In addition to that, going back this way, you have Greymont Avenue resurfacing project. Now, I may need all y'all help. We got to jump the utility folk because every time we pave a street, they come back and cut it up. Yeah, see. I got some. Oh, I got some riders in here. Anyway, with this project, everybody, the construction phase to resurface from Arkadelphia Road to 15th Street West. This also includes ADA curb ramp as well as sidewalk improvements and a new striping for bike lanes and video detection for traffic. So I know that's a project. I know that's a corridor that a lot of us take to get east and west. And then, not very far from here, something you all have wanted for a very long time is the completion of and the redo of Harris Pool at the park. So, what is the average time, Ms. Bell, the design phase takes? 6 months, 9 months? The design phase alone, when once the council votes on the project, can take 6 to 9 months, and sometimes even more. So unfortunately, with a lot of our capital projects, even after the council has voted for it, even after the money's been allocated, unfortunately, it doesn't mean it moves fast. In this case, we're not sure. Well, I'm honest. This pool probably will not be open this summer, but we definitely plan to have it open next summer. And we'll be able to do all the following that you see, which includes piping and equipment and other things to make sure this pool is up and available for residents in this footprint. So you all have been more than patient with that project. Thank you for not beating us up. If you could go to the next slide. I do want to talk about some other capital projects. They include Central Park Recreation Center. They also include Smithfield Library windows. Of course, we've dumped about 2+ million in Legion Field. And then I want to talk about two things. I'll start backwards. I'll start at Wickwood Field. Does anybody, well, this is what I'll say. There's been about I think, $4+ million investment in Wickwood Field. I want to explain why. This is city-owned property. It was managed by the Friends of Wickwood Field. But this is something to be very prideful for, whether you are a baseball fan or not, because this is literally the oldest baseball park in America that is still standing. Prior to this investment, events were already taking place. But part of this investment is because Major League Baseball, in order to actually play a Major League Baseball game, fields have to have certain specs, have to have certain requirements. And so this upgrade is not just for a one-time event that we're hosting next month, June 20th, the first professional Major League Baseball game in the state of Alabama here in Birmingham at the historic Wickwood Field. But this relationship and partnership, we believe, can continue to grow, which we all know in this room historically. The ball was dropped a few years back with the relationship and partnership with MLB. So this is a great place to be in. So it looks amazing progress. And I can't wait for all Birminghamians to see it. Then I want to talk about what's happening right here in this footprint. I'm looking at my phone to see if I got a note. My note is not here yet, so I'll have to provide additional update. Many of you all have heard us talk about the Family Fun Center. The Family Fun Center will be right here at the Crossplex site. There are neighborhood presidents who have been active in their community for a long time. And there have been a lot of people that doubt this project is actually going to actually happen. Disbelief, believe it. The city's let you down. They're not telling the truth. I can go on and on about your thoughts. However, we have been active in this project, with my favorite part being community engagement, where residents, neighborhood leaders have been kept informed, up to date of what's happening with this project. I am glad to say that we're in a design phase. I told you that takes 6 to 9 months. That is about 75% complete. Ms. Bell, are we in a position to actually break ground before 2024 ends, or it'll be more of the first quarter of 2025? We're planning to break ground for the construction of a family fun center in less than a year on this site. It will include a skating rink. It will include a bowling alley. It will include a area for entertainment and games. It will include an area similar to this to host events, and a host of other things that support families, children, as well as all community members, for you all to be able to have your own family fun center right here in our city limits. And I don't think it's a better place to put it than here at the Crossplex. I will also say this. Right now, by show of hand, if I said raise your hand, how many of y'all have to leave the city limits of Birmingham to take your child, children, or grandchildren to go skating, or outside the bowling alley on 280, which is actually in Birmingham city limits, or any other areas, any other fun activity like that? You have to leave the city limits. This is tailor-made and designed for our citizens, our families, our children and families, to make sure you can do those same family fun activities right here in our city limits. And construction will be started in less than a year. So we're really excited about that. I hope you are too. Mr. Gunn, have they been keeping you on the phone, sir? Cool. All right. Public Works. I want to provide an update on Public Works. And this is the part where I got everyday people in this room. It's full of neighborhood officers. It's full of everyday citizens in District 8 who care about your neighborhood. And you say, hey, what is the city doing about helping us keep the city clean? Well, one of the things is we pick up a boatload of litter that your neighbors put down to the tune of 2,315 bags of litter collected just last year in District 8. That is the equivalent of, everybody, 30 garbage truckloads of litter. That's embarrassing. And the truth is, we'll keep picking up litter. But at a point, I want to tell you that I imagine there are many people in this room that I'm very comfortable making this public statement that you get frustrated with the city. You want the city to do more. We need the city to do more. And the truth is, we want to do more and we will continue to do more. And at the same time, how democracy and government works, or how neighborhood revitalization works, is citizens have to do their part too. And it gets very hard when our neighbors keep putting stuff down and we got to pick it up every time they put it down. It doesn't belong in the streets, but that is what we've been doing. This is what we'll continue to do to help keep the city clean. 30 garbage truckloads, 1 year, one district. Potholes. We continue to be aggressive of addressing potholes citywide. Just in District 8, we were able to tackle about 770 and repair 770 potholes. In the queue for 311 alone, just 170 potholes have been repaired. And then the citywide garbage cart system. Does everybody like their new trash bin? Who said no? You don't like it? You don't like it? My man said he don't like it. I'm just playing. Here's the deal, everybody. I want to tell you, if you were unaware of why we went to the uniform trash system, cart system. It was a several reason. One of the things is we needed to do better at keeping our employees healthy and safe. Turns out when they jump out the back of a truck and they pick up stuff they don't know what's in your bag, sometimes there's a nail in the bag, a snake in the bag, or something else crazy in the bag. Or it's heavy and they pick it up and their back goes out, or they hurt their hand or hands. When that happens and we take that employee out of service, that makes us late to pick up everybody else's trash. So that's one. Keep people safe. Here's two. The city of Birmingham has been so kind and so nice. We weren't picking up your trash once a week. We were picking it up twice a week. And because we were picking it up twice a week, citywide, 6 out of 7 days a week, anything you put out there was always on our streets. So just trash 6 out of 7 days a week were on our streets and it looked any type of way. Here's what that allowed. It allowed the nasty people, filthy people, the people that litter, the people that illegally dump to easily just blend in because trash is always on our street. So being in a position to have the opportunity to move the uniform trash bins, believe it or not, the ultimate reason is it helps us actually keep the city cleaner and better at running a more efficient operating system as it relates to trash collection. So the next phase, do I have any people in this room that like to recycle? Show of hands. Yes, I didn't understand it either. Here's the deal, everybody. You should know that only 20, y'all correct me if I'm wrong over here, 21 or 22% of people citywide recycle. So what we're doing is we're moving to a better, more efficient way of collecting for those who want to recycle. Because less than 25% of people, less than 3 out of 4 households recycle, the way we run the routes is we either miss the handful of people that recycle or the trucks just aren't efficient in the way we currently run. So what we're going to do is create an opt-in option and optimize the route for those who want to recycle. So, that was ma'am. Your counsel says she wants to clap for that. But let's just take this second row, everybody. This second row is a street of homes, and only 2 or 3 people want to recycle on this street. Well, instead of, in the future moving forward, instead of the recycling truck going to every single house, they'll just know which homes to go to make it more efficient in how we optimize the route to make sure we actually don't miss the people who want to recycle, since it's only so few. In addition to that, we're leveling up on the educational piece of recycling to make sure the next generation wants to participate more in recycling, who will become homeowners. I got you. So that's that. Oh, last thing, if anybody needs an additional part, unfortunately, it's not free. You have to pay for it. But here's how we do it. You can go to birminghamal.gov/pickup, or you can go to 6th Avenue, which is 501 6th Avenue South, to purchase one in person, and it'll be delivered to your home. If you want to purchase a second trash bin, there is nothing stopping you from purchasing a second trash bin. If you could go to the next slide. 1 second, my brother, because I want to make sure we get to you and everybody else's question. But I promise you, if you write it down, your question's first. Operation Night Rider. Let's just get into it. Everybody's tired of 3rd Avenue West as a whole related to criminal activity. And it is not, to be very clear, we're tired, ball. That's TIED, tired. Tired. Yes, ma'am. Sick of it. That's SICCUD. What's going? All right, everybody. This is not isolated to exhibition driving in my left hand and in my right hand that I won't lift up too high. It's not isolated to Shell's gas station. You have a host, a litany of other things that take place in this 3rd Avenue corridor. So there's been a lot of engagement with BPD and what we're going to do about how do we engage 3rd Avenue differently, particularly on Friday nights, Saturday nights, and Sunday nights, which is the height of the activity. There will be a special operation with more attention on this, and this operation will be for several months, or it will be until we see a decrease in the criminal activity. Now, I want to break that down in different buckets. First bucket is exhibition driving. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. There will be a special operation designed for the 3rd Avenue corridor, particularly on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, which are the height of the illegal activity. I'm going to break it down in buckets because it's not all the same. I'm going to start with the one that's most visible and the one that's actually very dangerous, which is exhibition driving. There's a public conversation right now about exhibition driving. And people love to say is there's a whole lot of other crimes. You need to focus on that instead of kids having fun. And I want to tell you, if I had the time to show each and every one of you a video on my phone right here in our city limits of somebody doing exhibition driving and they hit another vehicle and put this man in the hospital, you didn't say that's fun. If I had the time to show you a video of a car doing exhibition driving, spinning out, hitting another car, and that driver got out of his car, started shooting, and the young lady was killed, you wouldn't say that was fun. And if I showed you another car doing exhibition driving and spinning out and end up hitting a group of pedestrians, I think he hit about 13 of them, one of them being a city councilor's niece who broke her hip or somewhere in her leg, you would not say that was fun. This is not just about souped up cars. This is not about necessarily loud engines. It's definitely not about loud music with big speakers. All that stuff may be annoying, but it's not necessarily illegal. This is illegal and dangerous. If people have been hurt, people have been killed. So we focus on it because you're complaining about it. We need to address it. We are addressing it 2 ways. You've heard of Operation Night Rider. At this point, this weekend makes this operation 4 weeks. We've now been able to make 15 arrests just on exhibition driving. We've seized 17 vehicles with 11 firearms seized. This operation will continue. I want to tell you today, it hasn't been 8 hours. The governor of Alabama signed into law. Now they used to use cameras to catch those who do exhibition driving. So if you were unaware, the way the previous law is written, All traffic moving violations in the state of Alabama, if a police officer does not see it, an officer cannot write a ticket and or tow and or make arrests. The law she signed today, just for exhibition driving and street racing, not exception for there's two moving violations. If it happens and the officer doesn't see it with the collection of evidence and or it caught on camera, an officer can issue a ticket after the fact and or two after the fact and or need be or arrest after the fact. This is a game changer because this behavior is so prevalent, not just on city right of way. It's in church parking lots, small business parking lots. Sometimes they shut down the interstate, and it's just dangerous. We want to keep people safe. So I want to thank the city council. I want to thank our lobbyists. I want to thank the legislators in Montgomery and even the governor signing it for giving us this additional tool to add to Operation Night Rider. Even if officers don't see the behavior, we can still engage in this. This behavior always in spring and the summer. So this is the best time to clamp down on this behavior. We hope this is sending a message to those who are doing the behavior. But hey, it's a different generation out here. They like to think different. That's a very PG way of saying they different. So we'll continue to focus on that. That's one. Here's two. Posting up what we used to call it parking lot pimping. Now it's just parking lot hanging out, whatever. You see it in Shell's gas station. You see it in the Burger King. You see it in the Advanced Auto Parts. You see it in the AutoZone. And then sometimes you see it just continuing to go down third. So not just in the 800, 700 block, but you're also seeing the 600, 800 block up Third West. The operation is now designed to engage those small business owners and or managers of those public small businesses to say, how do we partner in making sure your private property, everybody, you have to remember this is private property, not city right away. So if and when and how we engage is based on private owners engaging us. Well, we took the initiative to engage them to come up with a joint partnership of how they can better manage their private space, particularly when they're closed, so there's not taken advantage of at night that allows people to increase in their illegal activity on these private properties while these businesses are closed. So that's underway. I want to thank BPD. I want to thank Business Compliance for engaging these small business owners on a better way to keep people safe and keep these private properties safe as well. The last thing I'll say on that, because I told you there's several buckets. The last bucket is you have several small clubs or businesses where they don't necessarily turn on their music after midnight. And we get the complaints that whether you are on the Tuxedo side of Third or the or the Bush Hills side of Third, that the music is keeping you up at night. So you're probably be engaging in business compliance for a nighttime operation to assess and give more tickets related to noise complaints that are violating our noise ordinance, because there is a noise ordinance. And you should be able to sleep at night, particularly on the weekends, especially for those who got to go to church on Sunday, because I know y'all up and can't sleep. So it's several others, but I'll stop there in the interest of time. If you could go to the next slide. I want to talk about Connect Birmingham. How many of y'all, by show of hands, have heard of Connect Birmingham? All right, enough. How many of you all are part of Connect Birmingham? One. Ben. One resident. All right, here's the deal. I'm trying to figure out how to say this. Policing works better when residents can come forward with information, and that allows us to actually have enough evidence to make an arrest and take a criminal off the street. Oftentimes, our citizens are falling in one or two categories. They're afraid to come forward, or this whole no snitching culture, and they know have information, they refuse to come forward. Connect Birmingham kind of levels the playing field with technology. By show of hands, how many of y'all have a camera on the exterior of your front of your home? High hands. Enough people in this room. Connect Birmingham allows you to participate in a program attached to BPD where we're not Big Brother, but you voluntarily give us access to better police that street and or your block. And if and when a crime occurs, then if you're sharing what's on your Ring camera or any other camera, exterior camera in front of your home, that allows for a better investigation to actually apprehend or find the criminal who did something in your area, such as drive by and shoot, or do any other thing in your block or your street that's illegal. So we really want you to take your phone out and scan this QR code and learn more about this program. But more important than that, because I don't see enough phones coming up. More important than that, we really want you to participate in this program. And if you don't want to scan, Rick has papers that you can sign up for right now, and we'll pass them out to you. But of all the slides we have up here, this is probably one of the most important ones because we've all heard of Neighborhood Watch. Well, this is a technology form of Neighborhood Watch that gives Birmingham police more eyes to actually catch people and arrest people who are committing crime in our city. Does anybody want to participate in that?
It's not being monitored.
Tell it. You tell it. Say it.
Yeah, I bring him to tell it because he knows the facts. But one of the fears is that you're being monitored all the time, and that is your privacy
Right.
will be maintained. It will only be used. Do you get permission when the incident happens, or how does it happen?
We can only get permission if you give us permission. So we're not Big Brother. We're not checking you out. You can do whatever you want in your front of your yard, your porch, your property. It doesn't work like that. It only works after the fact and if and when the crime occurs, you give us access. But it allows you, again, to participate in Neighborhood Watch in a very unique way without necessarily having to talk. In addition to that, you can literally help us decrease crime. If you could go to the next slide. Thank you, Counselor. I'm not talking about code enforcement because I met one of your neighbors in College Hills, is Fifth West? Fifth Street West. And she described to me that her home is here, and there are 2 empty lots here. And she went into the detail about what's happening on these properties. So we want to talk about what we've done in District 8 just last year related to code enforcement. There were 49 structures that are currently, 2023, 49 structures on the list for condemnation. 20 of those were demolished last year, 20 out of 49. Across the entire District 8, there have been 763 houses inspected or conducted for some form of code enforcement violation. That's a lot of houses, by the way. Your neighbor, I've talked about, she is this is happening to her, and she has 2 of the 374 vacant properties, and she's sandwiched between them. 374 of them, the city cut, or city contractors cut them. And that it's really hard to maintain lots that are not city property because the city of Birmingham was never designed to be in the grass cutting business. And the city of Birmingham can't just legally get on private property to cut. So it takes a process that's very long. And then we want to say the occupied code violators, 412. This includes junk, debris, overgrown lots, as well as one of the ones you hate the most, inoperable vehicles. So I want you to think we're ignoring this issue. We literally addressed for the occupied homeowners 412, which was more than the vacant properties, but half of the housing inspected for violations. We continue to do this work, and we will continue to do this work. You could go to the next slide. DNAT, if you have never heard of DNAT, I think we're coming to an end, and then we're going to turn it over for Q&A. If you never heard of DNAT, DNAT stands for Drug Nuisance Abatement Team. It is led by Nicole King, our city attorney, and her team members. Oftentimes, it's hard to go after people at the criminal level because you have to take time to build a case. So DNAT is another tool to go after those who are committing criminal criminal acts and violations in our city through civil court and civil forfeiture. They've been able to investigate 129 properties that have received demand for corrective action. So literally, they've had to come before a judge in civil court and either correct their behavior and or be shut down. That is a private home or a private property or a private business. In addition to that, through the judge's orders, we've been able to collect about $63,000, which is going back to the neighborhood revitalization fund. So let me make this very simple for you. If you are aware of a house that people walk up, pull up, drive up, and buy drugs, if you are aware of a house that has any other form of illegal activity, and you don't necessarily want to confront them or call the police, cool. I want you to call this number. I literally want you to write this number down. 205 254 2369. Again, that phone number is 205 254 2369. You call this number and you say you want to talk to somebody on the DNAT team. That's DNAT. And you give all the description in detail because you're not talking to the police, so you're safe about what's happening at this property if you got an address. And we will open up an investigation to hold these people accountable. All right? So this doesn't make you a snitch. You're not talking to the popo. You don't have to be scared. You just got to drop detailed information so we can get to work. Y'all agree with that? Next line. Community development. It is not all about just tearing down blighted structures. We recognize in District 8 and other parts of the city there are too many empty lots. We want to go vertical with more homes. We want to go vertical with more community development and housing. With that said, everybody, in addition, we acknowledge existing homes where seniors and elders live, and they may not necessarily have the necessary resources or insurance for critical repair for exterior of their homes, such as roofs, porches, paint, etc. So just in your district, 68 homes have received critical repair, 8 are currently completed, 4 are under construction. And then over near the Bellevue Heights, Mr. Gunn, we are building 22 new homes, and 14 have been completed. So we want to continue to find pockets in District 8 to go vertical with more new homes. If you have questions about this, we got several team members from Community Development Department here. If you can stand, as well as Caroline Douglas in the back, which I want you to talk to this young lady about the land bank. With that said, next slide. We have a down payment assistance program too for those who want to be homeowners. Do I have anybody in this room who wants to be a homeowner? Oh, y'all balling, y'all already homeowners, okay? We have a down payment assistance program where our citizens can apply and, if eligible, receive up to $10,000, which is 5-year forgivable loan at zero interest. That is how much we care about assisting our citizens to become homeowners. You can scan this QR code to learn more about this program, or you can come to City Hall, go to the 10th floor, and ask about this program, and someone in the community development will help you in person if you need guidance. Next slide. Well, that's how, folks. We've got you how to stay connected with us to receive information in every channel you can think of. Website, YouTube, social media, city's website, as well as text, which is right now, if you took out your cell phone and you text BHAM Ready, that is BHAM READY to 888-777, you will then be hooked up in your cell phone to receive all type of information from us. So if there's bad weather or an emergency situation or putting in information you need related from the city to come directly to your phone as a text. With that said, Rick, I believe this is the last slide. It's time to turn it over to questions and answers.
Yes, sir. And if I may just add on that, BHAM Ready, text to 88777. We also try when holidays come around and schedules get changed on some household garbage pickup. We try to send reminders out that week, so it's very helpful to receive that because we try to use that example for the folks who subscribe to that particular text. Really quick before we start asking questions, if you have filled out a question and nobody's picked it up, just hold it up and somebody will come around. If you need a question card, okay, we got a couple over here. I feel like I'm doing a auction right now saying, okay, who wants this vacation? But anyway, so we got some questions over here. And then if you need a question card, hold your hand up and they'll bring a question card around to it. We've got one right back here as well, Latoya. Alicia's got it. Okay, Mayor. So we'll get started. This first one from Central Park. I know you said that you would ask this the first one out. So the individual says they made a request for a storm drain to be cleaned. It never happened. He wants to be reimbursed. I called you off guard. Sorry.
Tell you he paid for his own money to clean the stone drain?
That's what he says.
All right, here's the deal, brother. I'm a very honest guy. I'm never gonna BS you and make up an answer. Miss Thomas, I got you. I see you. I'm looking at you. I told you first. Miss Thomas, can we see this young man before today is over and get more detail on this so we can give him an honest answer on what we can do? In addition to that, I would like the address if it needs to actually be clean again. Let us do that before the month of May is over, or actually before this week is over. Yes, sir. Well, I got you, my brother. Got to stick to the rules, unfortunately, to make sure we get to everybody questions. But I've already told a team member to talk more to you so you don't feel cut off or left shorthanded. So we're going to spend as much time with you tonight in full detail. Tonight. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I've got a couple of questions. One identifies as District 8, the other particularly College Hills. Swimming pools in the community, when will it open? When will they open? Yeah, same question for both.
Thank you, Miss Celia. Y'all, I'm struggling over here. I didn't tell you I strained my shoulder. This should have been on a long time ago. One of your neighborhood leaders told me to put it on. She gave me that northern look, so I put it on. Neighborhood pools. The line of the pool should be open for this summer when school gets out. I believe we're a total of 12. One of the ones I mentioned up here will not be open, but you know the reason why, because we have to work on the pool. I'm going to tell you the issues and struggles we've had with the pools for some time. Because Ms. Sims, I see you. I know you love pools as well. Something happened. A lot of different things happened during the coronavirus, and I know policing be one of the things you want to talk about tonight as it relates to police presence. Didn't forget, brother. But one of the things that also happened is that apparently less people took interest in being lifeguards. The city of Birmingham cannot function or allow its pools to be open without proper lifeguards. In public spaces where the public, i.e. residents, seniors, adults, as well, especially children, have to be supervised at each of the public pools with lifeguards. And something happened in 2020, 21, 22. We couldn't get lifeguards. So majority of the pools were not open, not because we didn't want them to be open. It's because Park and Rec couldn't get lifeguards. So last year, they decided to do several things. One was be more intentional about promoting the opportunity of lifeguards, as well as increase the pay. So lifeguards currently make now, I think, $15. Anybody want to be a lifeguard? See, y'all a problem too. But the point is, the good news is our aggressive campaign will allow 9 out of 12 to be open because we got more lifeguards. That's the honest answer. School has to be out. Pools will be open this summer when school is out. So I'm glad 9 are open this year because it was less last year, less the year before. So I hope I answered the question. Rick, what's next?
Yes, sir. I'm merging a few questions because they're all the same topic. This one's coming from Green Acres, from Fairview, from Wylam. There may be a few other neighborhoods that have asked us. Essentially, why is it that law enforcement is not more proactive than reactive when it comes to high risk areas? How much of patrolling by the police in each neighborhood, and a request of increased police presence within neighborhoods?
Yeah, so this is one of those questions that I committed to being totally open with the entire public. It's not one you shy away from. As hard as it is, this answer will not be short, so please bear with me. The height of Birmingham's police force as it related to the number of men and women was 2020. And something happened in public service that year, not just in policing, but it also happened in nursing. It also happened in teachers, and it also happened in the military. And I feel like I may be missing one other public service organization. But at the height of the coronavirus, more people retired than applied for those positions I just named. That was not isolated to policing. If you talk to any superintendent of any public school system right now, not just Birmingham City Schools, they will tell you um, they don't have the number of teachers that they need. If you talk to the CEO of any hospital right now, they will tell you there's a nursing shortage. Got any medical people in this room? You talk to anybody in the branches of the military, they'll tell you their numbers are down as well. And coronavirus had a very interesting thing in what it did. And the last 4 years, how we've been trying to address the height of people retiring not matching the people who want the job. I told you this answer wouldn't be short, so please bear with me because I'm going somewhere with this. At the same time, at the height of retirement that didn't match hiring, this month, 3 years later, George Floyd was murdered. And that sent an awful ripple throughout the community of Generation X and Generation Y and Generation Z, but mainly Generation Y and Z, the youngest two generations today, who lost trust in policing. That movement was led by the youngest two generations in America. And those same people, you want to be police officers for an extended time, but definitely at the height 2020 and 2021, when hiring was down, the lens they saw was through George Floyd. You need to know that. That is not isolated to Birmingham. That is a nationwide phenomenon. You talk to any mayor, you talk to any police chief, they will tell you the exact same thing. But you need to know that, right? So it becomes about thinking outside of the box. How do you get a younger, newer generation, Generation Y, Generation Z? How do you get them to want to be teachers? How do you get them to want to be nurses? How do you get them to want to go into our military branches? And how do you get them to want to be police officers? It is not easy. It's actually very, very hard. But we're not giving up on it. It turns out the best way to get more police officers is current police officers recruit them. That's who they talk to, that's who they see, that's who can build local trust, that's who they know. So I'm proud of the efforts that BPD, I don't take any credit, I'm proud of the efforts that the Birmingham Police Department, and the leadership is here, have put in to rectify and address the situation. And it's not a money thing, because our officers, you can start being a Birmingham police officer making $50,000. That's a lot of money compared to other police departments across the nation starting salary. So it's not a money thing. It's not a culture thing. It is a two generations who see policing through what happened 4 years ago. So that's an uphill battle that we continue to address. So then you say, what about me? What about my neighborhood? What about my street? What about my block related to policing? And I want to be very, very honest with you, residents of District 8. The beat officers are out there. What has also happened in the last 4 years are Part 1 crimes. Part 1 crimes exist in two categories, crimes against persons and crimes against property. In my left hand, crimes against persons are homicides, robbery, rape, felony assaults. In my right hand, I think that's my right hand, Part 1 crimes against property that include theft, burglary, auto theft. On par, majority of those crimes are down. I want to tell you what's up. 911 calls. People call 911 for everything outside of those categories I just named. Now, there are a lot of other categories to call 911 for. Domestic violence, and a host of other things I didn't name. And what's happening is this. Each year, 911 calls increase. And when they increase, the reason you, Ms. April, don't see an officer on your street patrolling is because he responded to another call. The reason you call the police and it takes them 17 minutes instead of 5 minutes is because they're on another call. So you want more police presence, we want to give you more police presence. And at the exact same time, we are literally every year go through this thing where is there a better way to decrease people from calling 911 for non-emergencies? Because when people call 911, guess who has to respond? The police. So if you do not see a police officer patrolling your street, I want to be clear that this is an officer working the beat that includes your block, your street, your neighborhood. They're just probably responding to a call. You want more community policing, but that officer is on the call. You want more police presence, but that police officer is on the call. So that may not be the answer you want to hear. I just committed to being totally transparent with you about what's the situation with policing today. I think that, Chief, it's fair to say publicly that the current class is the largest class since April of 2020 currently. So we do project and feel confident that our numbers will go back up. But the last 4 years have been tough for any mid-size or large-size American city related to the number of police officers. But I want to be clear, the beats that are in District 8 do have officers. They're just always on the call. Chief, can you stand? Cap, can you stand of West Precinct? And Deputy Chief, can you stand over Patrol Division? These three gentlemen, you got an issue on your block, on your street, in your neighborhood. Do not run out of here. They're here to stay and talk to you personally about any issue you have, particularly Captain of West Precinct, because he is responsible for the men and women who are on patrol. Talk to him. Tell him your issue. Tell him your concern. And my expectation of these three gentlemen, our chief, our deputy chief of patrol, as well as Captain of West Precinct, will respond to you. Thank you, gentlemen. And thank you for the question. Forgive me for the wrong answer, but you deserve transparency in that answer. Next question.
Yes, sir. This question comes from Thomas. When can we expect more code enforcement?
Ms. Thomas, I'm not sure when the last time it's been, but let's send a team in there in the month of May. Light them up. Next question. Look at that short answer. I made up.
Okay, just 1 second. Okay, this is another public safety question. This comes from Bush Hills. Safety is a major concern for me regarding my neighborhood of Bush Hills. The constant sounds of gunshots nightly is very disturbing. What can be done?
Yeah, this is a tough one. This is one that hit my head upside something trying to figure out all the time. You know, we had a tool. We had a pretty impressive tool. I mean, it was amazing. It allowed us, over the course of the first few years combined in office, what was it, Chief? 16,000? Since we've been in office, y'all, we've taken 16,000 guns off the streets. 16,000. I want to repeat that number one more time, 16,000. That has become way harder to do because of the following. Turns out in the state of Alabama, as of January 1, 2023, you no longer need a license or a permit to carry any type of gun in this entire state. And for the life of me, y'all, if you knew how hard I beg legislators, I don't care if they're Republican, I don't care if they're white, I don't care if they're rural, but how you use guns to hunt and how you use guns in your house is very different in the urban area in Birmingham. That people use guns to hurt each other. They use guns to kill each other. and the retaliation, and they go back and forth. And the part I try to get them to understand is it's not just homicides. It's not just felony assaults where somebody is shot and survived. It's really the cowards who are brazen enough to drive in the neighborhood, pull up on the street or block, shoot at that house, and drive off. And that is the one I'm asking for the exception. Give us some form of local control to hold these people more accountable. Now, the question was, what can be done about it? I think several things can be done. I never want to just sound like I'm a defeatist. I want to focus on the solution because that's what you put me in a position for, to be creative and focus on solutions. So today is the last day of the legislative session. In one of the houses, it passed to increase the punishment for shooting into a home to a Class A felony. But Earl's not here, so I need somebody to text my phone to see if it passed out of the other house. If it passes out of the other house, we can get it to the governor's desk. And that's another, we hope, tool to make people think twice that if you shoot into somebody's house, you're going to go sit down for a long time. But here's what we need. I wish the deputy chief of the investigative bureau was here. Young lady, somebody shoots in your house. You don't even call 911. Your neighbor calls 911. They come to your house. You don't cooperate. You know who shot at your house. And instead of telling us who did it so we can go get the person, you there retaliate and you shoot at them and it goes back and forth. I'm very, very honest. I don't know how to police that. Right? Because that's not even a matter of distrust or not trusting the police. That is a matter of so many of our citizens want to take matters in their own hands. No one wants to de-escalate the situation. You shoot at me, I shoot at you. The question was sitting around, I hear gunshots at night. What's happening is there's an increase of retaliation is going back and forth. So one of the tools we've done is that same generation I talked about, Generation Y and Generation Z, in K through 12 right now, in different phases, K through 5th, 6th through 8th, 9th through 12, we've actually created a robust curriculum around conflict resolution. The truth is, we got to change the youngest generations to believe that if somebody beef with them, that there is a way to de-escalate those situations so they don't pick up a gun. I know that's a long-term play that doesn't solve the problems today, but we don't ignore it. Go ahead, jump in.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you about the curfew laws that we have because it seems like the perps are younger and younger. They're really young people.
Yeah.
Can we get any help from some of those older laws we used in the past?
Yeah, we still have a curfew violation. We tend to enforce it mainly in public spaces. So think about our city parks. Think about some of the city public spaces. That's where we enforce it the most. Look, told you I would be honest with you. This gets really hard if parents don't do their part. The laugh you see me have, that's a frustrating laugh because people want the police and the mayor office to do everything. It's like, yo, these people got adult parents and grandparents. I promise you, if the city could do everything, we would, but it was never designed to be that way. There has to be some co-accountability going on here. I don't want to arrest children for curfew violations. We don't take any pleasure or desire. That's not what we want to do. We rather that parent hold their child accountable for being out past their curfew that a parent gives, right? You don't want the police and the mayor's office in your business. We're wrong, but that's not our desire. So I want to make this last point on the gun violence because Rick, we said we would answer questions. I know we're behind. If you participate in the Connect program and there's shooting on your block, you help us identify who did it. I want to repeat that. Can you go back to the Connect slide? If you participate in this program, I promise you, because I don't make a lot of promises, That's really bad as an elected official because you got to be able to do what you say. But I promise you on this, if you participate in this program, this is the best form of neighborhood watch to catch shooters. In 2024, the way we have solved so many cases has been through technology because people have refused to come forward. If you got exterior technology on your home, you can help us catch the shooters if you participate in this program. I'm begging you to participate.
Yes, sir. This next question: can neighborhood funds be used for for a neighborhood dumpster?
Who I'm looking to over here to tell me yes, unless you can tell me no. If none of y'all tell me no, I'm gonna say yes. All right, yes. Next question. Yes, neighborhood funds can be used for neighborhood things. So, Dr. Del Queen, for an example, everybody, had an idea for residents in District 5 for a blighted structure. On average, it costs about $5,000 to remove a blighted structure. He came up with an idea I thought was great. If you're going to take your neighborhood funds and spend $2,500, he would take his discretionary funds and match. The point I'm making is you can get really innovative and creative with your neighborhood funds. They don't have to be used for just hot dogs and plastic plates for your funding. They don't have to be used just for Noosa, and they don't have to be used just for king breakfast. And y'all know them eggs nasty anyway. I said it. Don't beat me up. Everybody said it. I'm sorry. You can, if you want a dumpster, if you want to help potholes, if you want to help with a cover for a bus stop, you can get really creative. So I said yes to a dumpster, but I think you're going to want to have to give some detail to community development on where. As in, if it's a public space, yes. Paying city funds for a private space, probably no. So I'm saying yes with a caveat that you're going to have to work out some details to order to make that happen. Rick.
Yes, sir. This comes from Bush Hills. I've lived in my home only 3 years. My neighbor's unmaintained trees have caused property damage, unsafe living, and financial obligations for me. Please help me litigate, mitigate, and remove the trees. What can be done?
And lady, anything you want to say about forestry? Anybody, anyone of y'all want to help me on the forestry piece? I don't want to make up an answer. It's private. Yeah. So let me say this. I got a call from a resident in Bush Hills 2 Mondays ago. I went by her house, talking to her and her husband. She showed me, she said, come on, I'm going to show you something. He let us out. They both let us out. We went into an alley. Their house is on this side. This is the alley. There was a house on this side. Actually, it was an empty lot. In the empty lot, there are trees growing over the alley. And the trees are over her, what do you call it? Her deck, back of her deck. And there's stuff dropping down that she deems that it's harmful to her to be able to sit outside safely. I agree with her based on what I saw. So I made a call to our public works department. Please go ahead and assess. They sent forestry out. Forestry said because this is private property, city of Birmingham can't touch that tree. We call Alabama Power because we saw the power lines. Alabama Power said based on where it is, they can't cut it either. Now, I'm gonna say this. I know they're recording, so I may get in trouble. And this is different from the question because that's an actual neighbor with a house. But on this empty lot, if somebody willing an empty lot, I'm not gonna call the police on you. I said it. Shh. And related to that issue, unfortunately, I told you to be honest. The city of Birmingham can't cut private property. So what I would suggest is, if this has not been done, who's here can help me with a forestry question? I want the person to come see you. Please stand so they can see you. That's your question. Come see this young lady and give more detail because I don't think I'm qualified to answer your question, but for to disappoint you because it's private property.
Yes, sir. Next question. When will the city clean and cut grass in the alley behind 2500 block or 20th Place, Inslee?
I don't know. But let me give a little bit more detail to that I don't know answer. Give me the address again, Rick.
That's good. Or is that
Give me 1 second. I'm trying to. Okay, so this is Central Park. This is kind of a list. I'm trying to get to the question, but I'll just go in and kind of read it. Street paving. This is in Central Park, particularly on 57th Street. Street paving, sidewalks, dilapidated houses, the old Pizza Hut, and speed humps are needed. So I think it's kind of a list of things that they're at.
That's a long list. Rick, do me a favor. Set that question aside. Whoever had that question, that's the one question I'm gonna put in my hand and come see me when it's over. It's too much. Keep going. Let's go. I got people for you.
Okay, hold on a second. So Inslee Highlands question: can local organization hold on 1 second. Forgive. Incentivize citizens to sign up for surveillance camera registration.
I don't think I understand the question.
Can local organizations incentivize citizens to sign up for the surveillance camera registration?
Surveillance cameras. That's so. It's not necessarily surveillance cameras, y'all.
Yeah.
We're not surveilling anything. Again, short opinions. We got existing cameras. Your cameras are designed for protection of your property, visibility for you. How it works is, if and when a crime occurs in your vicinity, in your block or street, and you give police permission, we access to see if we can catch the perpetrator or the person that did the criminal act. The question was sitting around: can a nonprofit help?
I'll look through it.
I'm gonna say this: if you know a nonprofit that wants to go door to door, engage their residents to participate in this program, that helps us all. You all can help too. You got neighbors. If you sign up for the program, you tell your neighbor about it, and we tell all your neighbors about it. Can you imagine a world where there's so much technology use, it make criminals think twice because they can't get away, or they're afraid to do it because they know they'll be caught. But I say this: we as an I have been trying to find leadership for the business called Ring. You've heard of ring.com. Who has a Ring camera? We're looking to see through their community projects, are they willing to pilot an entire neighborhood, or at least within a neighborhood, a pilot program for seniors or elders where they actually provide the camera for free, as well as we engage the legal department to see from a public safety standpoint if it covers, even if it's on private property, to allow the exception for the city to cover the annual costs. Ms. King is probably spinning right now. That's our city lawyer, by the way, y'all. But I'm not sure how we can do that. But we want to investigate and find out. In that type of pilot program, we believe we can show proof of concept in an entire neighborhood where there's so many cameras, it allows us to either prevent or after the fact definitely make the arrest. Next question.
Yeah, I'm merging a couple of questions, Mayor, because they're kind of similar topics. So I got two questions for you. First question from Inslee: why are there so many homeless people in our area, and what do we do about it? Second question from Bellevue: why do you think it is a good idea to put a homeless camp on Avenue I?
Yeah. So I'm not sure if this is going to be a short answer because I'm not putting a homeless camp anywhere. Start there. Why do I think there's so many homeless people in our area in Birmingham's footprint? I think for several reasons. I think on a per capita basis, as it relates to the entire state, there are more resources here than anywhere else for homeless people to get services. I think on a per capita basis than anywhere else in the entire state of Alabama, that there are more churches that provide so many services for homeless neighbors and homeless people in our community. And I also think on a per capita basis related to anywhere else in the state, Birmingham, Alabama is always in the most top 10 across the entire nation, most altruistic giving places in America. And people, everyday citizens, give to homeless people. And all those things combined, I believe, allows for folk from all over, because I can take you to a homeless camp right now. I can take you to Lynn Park and any other areas where homeless people are. And I'm a friendly guy, so I love to ask people not just their name, but where you from. And homeless people will be very honest and tell you where they're from. And you should know in the last 4 years, a significant amount, if not the majority, but I'll say at least 4 out of 10, I dare say 5 minimum, are not from Birmingham, Alabama. They're not from Birmingham, Alabama. Now, there are those young people who age out of state custody. There are those in the military who just want to be off the grid. And there are those who are literally down on their luck, one paycheck from being homeless and evicted. Those situations exist too, and a lot of them are from Birmingham. But half are not. So that's the answer to the first question. I want to talk about the second question, and I mean this when I say this. We can be very cruel in this city sometime and not open-minded. You will look your city government officials in the eye and say, do something about homelessness. And when we want to do something, you say, not in my backyard. That's what you tell us. Or not in our neighborhoods full of housing. 99 neighborhoods right now are full of single-family housing, full of multifamily housing, duplexes and triplexes. So if I have a nonprofit that is in the Inslee community, whose focus, mission, values, vision is to help homeless people, and we have property where we can build 20 homes on this same site that help homeless people, you say no. I'm very confused. Because the whole point is for them not to be homeless. It's housing. It's housing. It's actual house. As in person out on the street and a home. How is it that the neighborhood is good enough for the nonprofit to provide the services for homeless people, but not good enough to actual house? They have a problem with that. And I'm not going to apologize for pushing back on those, I call them NIMBY, N-I-M-B-Y, not in my backyard. Because you told us to do something about homeless. You told us to decrease homeless. You told us to fight to get people off the street. We come over with a plan. How long are they working on it? How many years? How, year and a half? 2 years? 3? How long? A year and a half. We're actually going to put them in the house. Well, the answers are not good enough. If Crestwood is not good enough, Central City is not good enough, where can we put the houses? I don't like when people say put a homeless camp in my neighborhood, because that's not what it is. We're taking homeless people off the street and putting them in the house. The same folk y'all complain to me about renters. So you complain about squatters. Now, I'm with you. Let's kick all the squatters out. Let's go get pride in those who are not homeowners. But I don't think it's right to say if a footprint serves a nonprofit serves homeless people, is good enough to serve homeless people, but it's not good enough to put them in the house in the same vicinity. That's not right. Rick, what's your next question?
Yes, sir. Just because you know I'm always the timekeeper, I just want to point out 7:20 right now.
No, we got to keep going
Yes.
because this folk got a lot more questions.
Yes, sir. Next question from Fairview. How do we get speed reducers on 29th Street, Ensley, at Access Walk to Fairview Park? Cars are driving 40 and 50 miles per hour.
So I don't know about the access part, but I got some folk here from transportation that will tell me in the queue right now, 300 plus requests, 400 plus requests for some type of speed mediation, i.e. speed bumps, speed humps, reconfiguration of the street, stop sign, traffic light, ability to slow down traffic. I am not saying no to the person who asked that question. What I am saying is that you literally have about 400 requests in front of you. And we don't even have the funding to pay for all those requests. The professional folk have asked for a moratorium because there's so many requests we can't honor. I would be hesitant to say we can do that, knowing that you got 400 in front of you, and the first 50, I'm not even sure where we can get to based on limited funding related to our ability to slow down traffic. So there is a process. It includes Department of Transportation going out and investigating traffic patterns in this area, then determining if something can be done, and if something can be done, what does that look like? Is it a stop sign? Is it a speed hump, speed bump? Is it a red light? Is it a reconfiguration of the street, a median, whatever that is? That process is long, it's not short. And then once you get through that process, you still have to be in a position to find out how much it costs, and then you got to find the funding to fund it. I'm not saying it's a priority. I'm not saying it's not a priority. What I'm telling you is there's 400 of those are in the queue right now that have not been funded. So we have to find a better way to manage all these requests. Once they tell me what that process looks like, we can come back to neighborhood officers so they can get that information out in neighborhood meetings, because we know these requests will never stop. But we are at a point where they're not necessarily manageable. In the meantime, Rick, because you gave me that street, I do think we can get BPD to pay a little bit more attention and give out a couple of tickets so the word can spread. What's the next question?
Yes, sir. This question: what are the plans for Bush Boulevard street paving and landscaping? Question mark.
That's a good question. Anybody got an answer for me? Does anybody know when Bush Boulevard is on the list? Looking it up. So Rich, give me an answer. I'm coming back to that question. Coming back to that question with an answer, because I don't want to make up an answer, but we'll have a team member looking at the city that's on the current list, and if it's not, then it will be a part of the what I told you earlier of assessing letter grading all the streets.
My next question: cars. This is kind of a complaint, but a question: cars parked in yards and sidewalks on 4th Avenue West and 15th Street. What can be done?
Give me that address again.
4th Avenue West and 15th Street.
Did I have any team members write that down who are in the business of removing inoperable vehicles?
I'll say it again: 4th Avenue West and 15th Street. In case I read it
We'll
back.
pay them some attention as well. I want to tell you how the process goes. We come assess, that's either code enforcement or BPD, one or the other, based on where the car is. We can't just remove that car. In the ideal world, your neighbor will voluntarily move it, but it's a process if they don't, and it's not overnight because it's private property. You got that anything on Bush Boulevard yet? It's not on the list? All right, told you I would come back with an answer. Unfortunately, it's not on the list of the 5-year plan that expires this year. However, it is being part of the assessing. The street will be letter graded as an A, B, C, D, or F.
Yeah, we can't.
If it's in the F, it'll be at the top of the list, and we will share that information publicly with you once it's complete. That's two different things: assessing the street, then determining when it will be paved.
Okay. Next question: how often should the right of ways be cut? Not the lots, not private lots, but the city right of ways.
It's a very fair question. They should be cut more often. But the person who I would want to I don't want to search for an answer. They should be cut more often. They're not. I think the city of Birmingham needs more employees in public works, and I think we need more equipment. I can tell you what happens because I've seen it. I've seen us get more equipment and have less people, and I've seen us get more people and have less equipment. Some point we got to find some alignment in both of those things. That allows us to be in a position to cut more right away. But I also want to tell you this. Sometimes we shift priority. And in public work, sometimes the squeaky wheel does win. When that happens, we deviate from an actual strategic way of engaging horticulture and engaging grass cutting, etc. If it was up to me, everybody, if it was up to me, we would only cut city right away because we are responsible for city right away. But that is not the number one complaint of grass. Do you know what the number one complaint is? lots where majority are private property. That's a process. So we pay private contractors, but sometimes those complaints get so loud we have to send our own people as well. And the same crew you want to cut the city right away is cutting private lots. Now, don't tell me, which you won't, because you want the lot cut next to you more than you want that city right away cut. And that's the point I'm making, that sometimes that squeaky wheel shifts us from city responsibility. I would love to only focus on the city right away. If we only focus on the city right away, it would be good.
Mayor, next question. I'm going to fill this question in. This is from Rising West Princeton, June 20th, Rickwood Field, Major League game asking for tickets. So I can, you're not the only one asking, I'll tell you that. But so Major League Baseball did a lottery recently. They announced that they did a lottery recently where people could sign in. I know they went through that process, and I think they sold out because a lot of people called me and said they couldn't get them because they just signed up too late. So, but there are Major League Baseball has committed. I don't know what the process is. This is just coming from their release, but Major League Baseball has committed that 26% of all the tickets that are going to be at that game will be provided for free to various organizations and local residents.
Rick, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yes.
My chief of staff and my chief strategist came up to me, and I know y'all heard that thunder. They shared with me, and I just shared with the councilors. I'm not sure if you're aware, but a storm is moving in that includes not just thunder and lightning, but I'm not in a position to necessarily provide an update, but they're suggesting that the priority is to keep people safe. I have no desire to quit this conversation, and I am so sorry. But you need to at least be given the option. But the actual programmatic piece of this, we need to end. I'm willing to stay, but I need to let the public have the option to leave here so you can be safe and get home safely due to the weather. I do want Ms. Clark to say something quickly in closing, and then she'll pass the mic back to me.
Get home safely. No, again, I want to thank everyone for coming. There are probably more questions than we were able to get to, and maybe the mayor will find a way to share those with me because I have been able to note a lot of concerns. Again, I'm your advocate. Tiadra Tucker over here is in the District 8 office. We also have Carmen Mays and Christopher Mosley. So we are working for you and advocating, mostly getting your concerns to the mayor. But do use 311 because sometimes it doesn't look like anything happens, but the data is there. It helps us to make the case for you when something's aging in the system. So do report it. Report it, even if you think it's not going to make a difference.
Also,
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Clark. Y'all give it up for her.